Hello and welcome to today's episode of Focus Atlanta. I am your host, Keisha Lancelin. Thanks so much for tuning in with us this Sunday morning. March is National Kidney Month. In today's episode, we'll learn the signs, symptoms, and risks associated with kidney stones. We'll get information about the nation's first degree program for liturgical dance. And we'll learn to train like an Olympian from the comfort of home. We'll begin chatting about credit card changes that may affect those rewards you've been looking forward to. I'm here with Nick Ewan. Hi, Nick.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Of course, excited to be here.
So I understand that there was a poll. Can we talk a little bit about the poll findings?
Yeah, sure. So right now there are a lot of legislative efforts underway, both at the national level and the state level, that could change how you use your credit cards to pay for goods and services and could potentially impact the rewards that you earn on those purchases. We conducted a poll that found a shockingly low level of awareness that these efforts are actually underway. Less than 1/3 of our respondents were even aware that these were potentially under consideration. But once they were made aware of the ramifications, the opposition rose significantly. In fact, more than 4 out of 5 of our respondents said that they want the electronic payment system to remain as is with no changes. And more than half were concerned about the potential of losing out on their rewards if some of these proposals actually do take effect and could really upend how you use your credit card on a daily basis.
Well, then, can we get some clarification about how these rewards really work and what's at risk?
Yeah, so when you swipe your credit card, whether it's at an online retailer or a local merchant, the business is charged a small processing fee known as interchange fee, and that averages about 2% of the transaction. That has remained flat for about a decade now, and that is used by the issuing bank to fund fraud protection, to ensure that the ecosystem is secure, to fund short-term lending, but then also to give a lot of that back to consumers in the form of rewards, whether that's cash back or airline miles or travel points. And once you start messing with that system that is very seamless and works for everyday Americans, you start to lose some of that interchange, which then is not funded back into the rewards ecosystem. And we actually have one state, the state of Illinois, that has already passed legislation set to take effect July 1st that could completely upend how you use your cards in that state.
So what can we do as consumers? Do we have any recourse? Is there some place that we could learn more about what our role could be?
Yeah, the first thing is simple awareness. Make sure that you know what is going on. Best place to do that is at guardyourcard.com. That's where we break down everything that you need to know, how these proposed legislation efforts could impact your rewards, could impact the security of your transactions. Lots of these things could just completely upend a system that is already seamless, already working for millions of Americans, millions of small businesses across the country. So guardyourcard.com has everything that you need to know.
Is that also the place that we could go to kind of stay abreast? I'm sure so many consumers aren't even aware that these rewards are in jeopardy if any of these changes take place. How do we stay on top of that type of knowledge?
Yeah, so that page is updated as new pieces of legislation, new information comes to light. We're consistently keeping that updated with new studies that have been conducted to show the impact of these. You know, at the end of the day, the payment ecosystem is very seamless. It works very well. And a lot of Americans use these rewards, not necessarily for flights and hotels, but for everyday essentials, putting cash back right into their household bottom lines. The last thing that we need to do is impact any of those. So if you go to guardyourcard.com, that has everything that you need to know.
Nick, thanks so much for coming on the show and clarifying these issues for us. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, of course. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. All right, guys, when you don't have the pointer guy with you, you can do a little research. You can go to the website. You can learn a little bit more about what changes may be occurring with the credit card you now hold. It might be an opportunity for you to think about which credit card you want to have in terms of how these changes affect how you are spending. Please take the opportunity to go to the website, learn more, and stay tuned to more Focus Atlanta. We'll be right back.